1,500 cases of COVID-19 reported yesterday in the country, yet public healthcare workers are out in the streets demanding for their rights. Who will cave in first, and can the country continue to afford these types of industrial unrest in the wake of a COVID-19 resurgence? When we sit down, it's time for the conversation. Helping us put some of these matters into perspective are our guests today. The first one is Mohamed Bagajo Duba. He is the chairman, Kenya Health Professionals Society. He is also the National Secretary General of the Association of Public Health Officers, Kenya. He is the head of Port Wilson International Airport, former head of Port Health Services at JKIA, and he holds a master's, or rather he is a master's student in public health at JKUAT School of Tropical Medicine, and he holds a Bachelor of Science in Environmental Health Science from Kenyatta University. Our second guest, Brown Ashira. He is Kenya Health Professionals Society Nairobi Branch Secretary from 2018 to date. He's Branch Secretary Association of Public Health Officers Nairobi County, former University Student Leader Association, National Vice Chairperson in 2010. He has a BSc in Environmental Health Sciences, Diploma in Environmental Health Sciences, and he is a devoted public health care officer. Mohammed and Brown, thank you for making time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. We'll start with you, Mohammed. Bearing in mind what has transpired the last 3 months in the country, we've seen a lot of industrial unrest in the health sector. What would you say is pushing healthcare workers in this country to go out to the streets and demand for their rights?
Thank you for having me. I think it is a common knowledge that there has been historical injustice in the health sector. But the recent strike or unrest in the health sector is a result of delayed salaries in most of the counties, delayed promotion, that is cross-cutting, both at the national and also in some counties, but some counties have made a good progress. There's also the issue of inadequate PPEs, personal protection equipment, which has not been there. In fact, and then also discriminative allowances, COVID emergency allowance, which were given unfairly to, there was no equity in giving those allowances to the frontline health workers. But more importantly, I want to say that this arrest is just a continuation of the chronic strike in this country, which is not all of us, because we have had discriminative promotions given to some cadres, specific cadres in the health sector, and leaving majority of healthcare workers. That has been the problem. Our people, as we're talking, as much as we have been told, we are aware of the amount of money which has been dispersed in as far as the mitigation of COVID-19 is concerned, but you can see the PPEs are not even available to most of health workers as we're talking. That is why we are seeing growing number of health workers being affected, and in the process, their families are also affected because it's part of the occupational health hazard.
Okay.
So I think those are the issues.
Brown, let me come to you. How deep do these issues run? Because for healthcare workers to go out in the streets, bearing in mind how critical the role they play in the society is, particularly in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, then these grievances must be really deep. How deep do they run? Brown?
We have what we are calling the historical injustices that have been emanating in the healthcare professions in this country since time immemorial. And you can agree with me that these historical injustices have not been addressed. And no wonder the word chronic, as my chairman has said, because most of the issues that have been raised, they have not been able to be handled because there has been a lack of seriousness on the part of the management of this country and how to handle the healthcare workers in this country. Healthcare workers are very critical people in this country, and therefore issues like redesignations, issues like promotions, these are policy issues that do not require even for us going for a strike. My chairman has put it so right that they are chronic because the management, or rather the minister or the Minister of Health, has not been serious to handle this issue. And no wonder they have been recurring again and again. And I will say this for free, that not unless this thing is solved, we will have these strikes as long as we live, because we do not eat anything, but we must be able to have this thing handled and solved amicably. Thank you.
Mohammed, let me come to you. The world is currently battling the COVID-19 pandemic, and healthcare workers are at the front line in this battle. Yet, in some of your grievances, you're complaining about the terms and conditions with which you have to work under the COVID-19 pandemic. What are some of those issues that you're raising with regards to work amid the COVID-19 pandemic?
Well, yes.
Mohammed?
Yeah, in the current strike, I think the focus is about delayed promotion and
Go ahead, Mohammed.
I think in the current circumstance, the strike is about delayed promotion and redesignation. I think promotion in the health sector, as I said previously, has not been addressed. There has been an injustice that because we have quite a number of health workers who have stagnated for the last 15 years in one job group. And I think this is very unfair. While and the scheme of service is very clear that there must be career progression after every 3 years. And it has not been happening. Remember, even before the devolution, this problem has been there. And I think in as far as the COVID issue is concerned, we have went out and told our members even to commit suicide, because in some instance they have been putting one face mask for 12 hours in a day. And this is you must protect the soldiers if you want them to protect the fellow countrymen. And I think there are a lot of issues. As much as a lot of money is given to the COVID-19, we are not seeing, it's not visible in terms of protection of health workers. This has been a problem, and I think our policymakers at the House and also at the county levels are not serious in addressing the issues of health workers. And so this strike, as SG Nairobi said, will be a continuous thing that can only be addressed in the public health sector. The problem are addressed, or even the health service be privatized.
Okay, Dr. Brown, let me come to you. The Ministry of Treasury has said time and again that whatever was bargained for in the CBA in 2013 and in 2017 and all the return to work formulas, they're good formulas, but the country cannot afford to shoulder such a huge wage bill. Do you believe that this country is incapable of paying the doctors what they're demanding for?
I must say this country has more than enough. We have more than enough. And if I might tell you for free, if you look at, for example, developing countries like Singapore and other countries which are serious on matters of health, they have prioritized health as a factor of economic development. But if, for example, if we have a return to work agreement, you know that the things we have actually put across is that some things that are supposed to be policy issues, which are not supposed to actually be striking against, are the ones that's pushing us to the strike. There's been money, but you've seen even people embezzling money. If you go to the Ministry of Health, look at most of scandals like at KEMSA and the rest. Our interest has always been the wrong interest. People go in those offices to eat money and embezzle funds at the expense of a commoner, at the expense of a healthcare giver. So not unless we address this matter, not unless we get these matters correct, and not unless we address these matters as healthcare workers, provide whatever is supposed to be given to a healthcare worker. Give them promotion timely. Pay them on time, because we cannot, assuming, like, for example, in Nairobi, last month we were paid on 22nd. Like, those are things we are talking about. How can you motivate this worker to work yet this person is not paid on time. Protect this person, embrace this person, then this person will get the best out of this person. So issues like PPs, issues like timely promotions, issues like redesignations must be addressed for us to be able to embrace whatever is supposed to be done.
Mohammed, let me come to you with regards to promotion of doctors. Earlier on, you'd mentioned there are some, or rather healthcare workers in general, there are some who even in 12 years, 10 years, 5 years have not been promoted.
Yes.
When you listen to that, then it makes it sound like it's very difficult to promote these people. What is the procedure of promoting these people? What needs to be done just to ensure that they get promoted?
Thank you. I think there's a clear guideline in terms of enhancement of career. In fact, every cadre has a specific scheme of service, which is cadre specific, which really articulated that after every 3 years, there's a movement, an officer move from one job group to another. I think these things are articulated in the scheme of service. It's only that the human resource across the country and even at national level, even before devolution and after, has not been serious in addressing these issues. It's as if they are not concerned. Like the current strike, before this strike was commenced, we gave so many strike notice, about 4 strike notice, and because we know this is a global pandemic, we thought that we should serve our countrymen at all cost. But they cannot, as much, they don't even respond to our letters, our protest letters, our concern in as far as people are concerned, salary delays are concerned, and as far as promotion is concerned, they don't even respond. They are totally not responsive to the concern of healthcare workers. We don't know whether they are doing private business in happy house or even at some county levels. So we have problem with people who have closed their ears, who have closed their eyes. We are dealing with people whom we can say, we don't know. I think I said it the other day in the press that we need people like Mbadi. President should bring some people like that to Avios so that issues are addressed in time. We cannot say that the government has not had a budget for the last 15 years, that one can integrate in one job group for the last 15 years. These monies are being diverted to other sources that we don't know. As you know, this Avios is called Mafiaos. And they have been curtailed. And the minister also clearly alluded to that. And he said he's clearing the cartels from Mafiaos. And we are not seeing them being cleared. So we don't know where the money that has been located for promotion of healthcare workers is going. It must be diverted somewhere. We cannot say the government, there's money for that. The policy is that an officer is promoted after every 3 years. Some of them even, in fact, retire from employment at entry level. When you go into the job group at job group L, you retire job group L. That is really, that is injustice. And we are appealing today essentially to clean some of these people from the policy levels and bring in people like Badi. I think we have come to understood the frustration of the president in dealing with corruption. Because imagine Napios, the bulk of the money that has been there, and the PP has not been there. We have not been seeing PP on the ground, and our people have been committing suicide. We have the crooks at policy level. That is the problem in this country. They better privatize the healthcare if they cannot be able to handle. That is my suggestion.
Quite a suggestive move there.
Yes.
Dr. Brown, let me come to you. You'd mentioned matters to do with salaries. Right now, health is devolved and different counties are trying to figure a way of ensuring that health runs in their respective counties. How can they ensure that in the process of ensuring that there's health care for all, healthcare workers are taken care of and may be paid on time?
Well, in these counties, as you've rightfully put, the health is devolved. And in these counties, we have county assemblies. County assemblies are supposed to have a duty to pass county budgets, approve budgets that are actually supposed to be done by each and every minister in charge of a various doctors like health, for example. So when a health docket makes a budget and a budget is passed or county assembly is approved, it is not the business of the worker to know our business to work. And that's what my chairman has said. We get a contract with the government to serve. And our business to paying is not our business. Our business to ensure that we are paid on time, because the law is clear. The Labor Relations Act and the law is clear that a worker must be paid on or before the third date of the preceding month. So when you are not paid on time, that also affects you. So it is important that the Council of Governors, and when I'm saying about the Council of Governors, the Committee of the Council of Governors on the health issues prioritizes the issues of healthcare workers, so that every worker is paid on time. Every healthcare worker is paid on time, and we receive our salaries timely, so that we're able to discharge our duties as expected. But I've said this and I'll repeat this again, that this country has a disease. We call it a syndrome. It's a chronic disease that we don't honor. Even whether the chairman has put it so clear, we have signed return to work agreements. We have signed return to work formulas, but they don't honor them. They put them in those cabinets, in those offices. I don't know what do they use it for. We sign an agreement. Tomorrow, a government goes to court. For example, like in Nairobi, they rush to court and put a court order, and they said they were saying that, oh, these people are on strike, oh, it is illegal, oh, blah blah blah. But they are the ones who have failed to honor whatever we had agreed with them. So we must have a character, or must reach a point whereby all these governments honor whatever we agree and pay officers on time and equip these officers for purposes of enabling them to work. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mohammed, as we almost come to a close, as Brown has put it previously, there was a collective bargaining agreement in 2013, there was another in 2017. So many return to work formulas have been signed, yet nothing has changed. Yeah. What is different this time round?
I think these problems which we have been talking about can all be addressed by independent commission. We have proposed in the BBI the independent constitutional commission, which is Health Service Commission. But they have came up with a statutory commission, which was even rejected by retreat in Naivasha this week, and it has been deleted totally. When the task force was going around the country, the Health Service Commission was not contention. Nobody has rejected. The Wananchi Ajakata, Wanjiku Ajakata, I think the only way to do justice to healthcare workers is to give them Health Service Commission. That is not revising the gain of devolution. We are saying that Health Service Commission, which is independent, can address the issue of salaries. Why the governors are clinging to this when they cannot address pay health workers in time? We are saying let the infrastructures remain at the county level, but let the human health workforce be given for Health Service Commission, so that recruitment is not based on ethnicity, which is the case now at the county level. Mm-hmm. So we are saying that let it be subjected. We are going to fight that. Let the Health Service Commission be subjected to the public. Wananchi wakubali ama wakatae. Sio governors wanasema hawataki when they cannot handle the human health workforce efficiently and effectively.
Okay. So, finally, does this mean that healthcare workers will not go back to work unless the government gives them something, or will healthcare workers be able to negotiate with the government this time around? What's different this time around?
We are saying our bare minimum is that we must be able to have our letters, and that's what we are saying. We must have our promotion letters, our resignation must be right, so that for us to resume work. We want to go back and work. We don't want to go back and appear as if we are begging. These are issues that we can be able to handle, and I believe the government has the capacity to promote, because there's money. Every year there's money for promotion. Where does this money go? Do the people take this money into their pockets? We are not supposed to be striking for promotion and resignations. Every year there's money, and there's a budget for this kind of money. What we are asking is that let our members get these promotions and let them be promoted, because it's their right. and within the law to be promoted, because it's automatic. And I think chairman has put it so clear. The policy is very clear. After 3 years, you are supposed to move. How come somebody can be stagnated in one job group for over 10, 12 plus years? So let us be very clear. We are very clear as leaders. We will have our bare minimum is to have those promotions in our hands, have those resignations in our hands, and even have those arrears, because every promotion is not just a paper, must come with a value added on it. We must have the financial implication. We need those arrears and now have those monies, and we must have those promotions for us to be able to go back to work.
Brown, finally, yes. The government might not cave in, or maybe it might just cave in just so that you can go back to work and not honor those demands. Moving forward, why must the government honor its pledges and agreements with healthcare workers, particularly in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic that is very uncertain? Nobody knows when it will end.
But surely, let me tell you, my dear sister, it is very critical. If this country, if this government cares for its citizens, the reason why we always have a government in place, it is because it must take care of its citizens. And if this government is serious, it must take care of its citizens through its healthcare workers. And therefore, what we are saying, let them take care of the healthcare workers. We are going back to Manjiku to serve. We are not. You don't have rushing to court to get court orders and injunctions to force us to go back to work. It's not a solution. Those are knee-jerk reactions. We cannot go back to work because the court has said we must go back to work. Okay, we will obey because we are good citizens of this country. We will obey, and as good leaders, we will go back to work. But how comes these are demoralized workers? We will not go back to work and be able to discharge our duties as expected because tunasikia tumenyanyaswa. So the best thing the government can do, engage these work leaders. Let us have this return to work agreements honored, and let's have these workers have whatever they're supposed to be having, so that we're able to move forward.
Great.
So that we avoid this issue of pandemic, because there's a scourge. The COVID-19 is rising day by day, and we feel for our citizens, because we are getting the people to provide that service. If the government does not facilitate the service, you hear, a contribution has been made, but pesa inakuliwa. So let us invest rightly. Let us put the money where there's the mouth. You don't put the money where there's no mouth. Let us put the money where there's need, and we are willing to go back to work, and we are willing to work so that our members feel motivated. Thank you.
Brown, Ashira, and Mohammed Bagajo, thank you very much for making time. That's where we leave it.
Asante sana. Thank you also for hosting us.
Great. The Abuja Declaration dictates that 15% of all national budgets in Africa should go to health. Maybe if we had stuck by this, then all these problems we're seeing in the health sector could have been avoided. Doctors could have been promoted and have been paid. But that's what the Abuja Declaration says. When we come back after the break, Vincent Odhiambo comes back with Social Watch and samples what you have to say about this topic today. Stay with Metropole TV.